answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is time for the monologue and Q&A, the question and answer. And if anyone is interested, give me a truth, give me a lie. Because, folks, the world right now is absolutely bonkers, right? It's absolutely bonkers. You can't tell the difference between a truth and a lie, right? You can say some outrageous shit and it could be real. You can say some outrageous shit and it could be false. You can't tell anymore. So, as always, we're also going to play the new game. That's right. We're going to play Stump the John. Tell a lie, tell the truth. That'll be in the Q&A section if you guys want to play along. Because let me give you this, right? What have we been hearing from the White House? The Capitol in D.C., the White House. We've been hearing that the leader of Russia, the other nuclear superpower, that he is a murderous dictator and a thug. Well, folks, today, Russia's foreign minister summoned the U.S. ambassador to issue a note of protest, right? And condemned the White House and said it is unacceptable, folks, unacceptable to make remarks like that about Putin. Furthermore, the ambassador, John J. Sullivan, was told that Russia and U.S., the ties that bind, are on the verge of being severed. Yeah, perhaps calling Putin a murderous dictator and a thug and everything else that he's been called lately wasn't all that smart. Let's go, Brandon. Build back better. He's not the divider. He's the uniter. He's got so much experience. He's going to be great for the economy. Whoops. He's going to be great for politics. Whoops. He's going to be good for foreign affairs. Whoops. If I didn't know any better, I would say that he is intentionally bringing down our country. Now, Australia decides, folks, to slap Russia with an aluminum export ban. Aluminum prices just shot up. You think you're going to hurt Russia that way? Australia, you want to play the game? Okay, it's going to be hard enough for Europe and the United States to duke it out with Russia, but now Australia wants to play and the big boys into the pool. Australia, folks, well, we're going to get into Australia later, who they are and what they are up to. But once again, folks, as the economy goes, takes a shit around the world, as it takes a big dive, a big smelly dump, commodities are going to become rare things. And if you don't have them, you're not going to be able to get them unless you pay top price. So look out, folks. Look out, Australia. Unbelievable. Now, the world and world markets, folks, are pivoting on a question out there. They're pivoting on a question, an idea, right? You know, who is the bad guy? Who is the good guy? So Putin is trying to rally his country while the West is trying to rally themselves. And Putin declared, folks, that only through thunder and storms does Russia find glory. And folks, Russia fired their hypersonic missiles, which are, by the way, capable of being armed with nuclear weapons, right? The risk of starvation in Mariupol, Ukraine, is now being touted in the media And we're told that globally, if things change or don't change, that Russia is going to take Ukrainians in Russia to work camps. So, folks, Putin is responsible for starving of people in Mariupol, Ukraine. It takes weeks to starve. You're telling me that the people in this town haven't gotten any food for weeks and they're starving? I'm sure they're hungry. I'm sure they're scared. I'm sure they're concerned about how much food is in their pantry, how much is in any store, right? But let's just pretend the story's right. The people of Mariupol are being starved. Could Zelensky end that starvation right now by surrendering? Oh, by the way, folks, on the Prepared Mind on Patreon, you can find pictures of Zelensky in all of his glorious, shall we say, perverted and perversion-laced world. He's being heralded, folks, as some kind of a hero, when in truth, he is completely different. I'm not allowed to put pictures up, folks, of him with a Nazi flag, of his, shall we say, sexual licentiousness that he's paraded in front of the world that the mainstream media is ignoring. Right? These are sick people, folks, but they want to say Putin is the bad guy in all this, right? Russia accused of killing Ukrainians? Yes, that's happening right now. They're accusing Russians of killing. But folks, others are reporting that the Ukraine military itself is harassing and beating their own people, other Ukrainians on the street, as well as arresting and locking up Ukrainians, folks, without crimes being committed. Not see much, Zelensky, right? Hey, Zelensky, do you not see much? Nazis, right? Folks, projection. Always accuse the enemy of your own intentions. It's called projection. So they're trying to say that Putin is the bad guy, that Putin is locking people up, that Putin is starving people, that people are being harassed by Putin who haven't committed crimes. Always, folks, accuse the enemy, in this case it's Putin, of what you're doing on your side, which is what Zelensky and his people are doing. Folks, work camps for Ukrainians in Russia for not being Russian. How about quarantine camps for Australians who are not like the pro Jim Jones juice crowd of Australians who have been locked up, some indefinitely, harassed and beaten on the streets for not wearing a mask? That's not a crime, folks. No crimes committed. Australia, right? You want to point to Russia and say Russia bad? Is this making any sense yet, folks? Right? Trudeau of Canada is a hero. Picture an example, folks, of leadership and virtue. That's what he is. He is the picture and he is the example of leadership and virtue. That's right, Justin Trudeau, right? He had his police harass protesters, trample them with horses, steal from them, sabotage their fuel, their vehicles, steal their property, threaten their children, fine them thousands of dollars, revoke their licenses, and threaten to and put them in jail and claim you're going to be there for a year. No problem in Canada. He's not a thug. Justin Trudeau is not a thug, right? And Australia, the leadership there, they're not thugs. But Putin is a thug, right? Biden, Pelosi, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, CIA, Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office. Are they thugs, folks? Or are they murderous dictators and tyrants? Let's see. Provoke gas, beat, arrest, and even murder protesters on January 6th. Not hold any of the killers responsible. Then keep the protesters locked up for over a year and counting with chicken shit charges, most of them dropped, in third world prison conditions, tortured according to UN guidelines and definitions. All while the regime leadership class enriches itself. Nancy Pelosi, Biden, and all. Hypocrite much, Biden? Boris Johnson? Australia? The entire United Nations system? The entire NATO and European Union system? Folks, where does all this end? one side is going to win this with a propaganda war that's successful. And it would take decade or decades. There may be more conflict coming. If Russia severs its ties with the United States, it's going to be like, you know what? Screw you guys. See how you do without any help from Russia. India, folks, tells the United States and the European Union and NATO to stuff it. They're going to buy Russian crude. They're ignoring the pressure, the virtue signaling, the lying that, of course, countries like Australia will suck up to, New Zealand will suck up to, Canada will suck up to, and oh yeah, the United States is going to suck up to itself. And they're fooling the people, folks. They're absolutely fooling the people into believing. I have had my nose buried in this today. Right? I've had my nose just buried in this stuff. So let's switch gears. Let's back away from international politics and lies and hypocrisy. And we'll just go to tennis. Folks, today, Rafael Nadal complained of breathing problems following his tennis match. He says, it feels like needles when I try to breathe. It's painful. Anyone want to guess what he has done that would cause him to have breathing problems known as pulmonary issues, right? Heart problems, pulmonary problems, strokes, clots. Yeah. Anyone want to guess what is happening with Rafael Nadal? Yeah, no telling, right? There's just no telling. Unbelievable. And to complement that, I wanted to bring you our favorite little turd because he has something he wants to say, and I want you to hear it.
And not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision. There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision.
You bet, folks. The little man is back. Now, remember that old thing where you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 back and people are like, hey, they're backing off. Well, the little man, the booster rooster, the drippy little faucet, the other day was like, I may end up retiring here. That was a step back, and people were like, we're done with this little creep. Folks, sorry, not so much. Here's a quote from the booster rooster himself. Mr. There comes a time when you should give up, when you must give up your individual rights. Quote, hopefully we don't see a surge. I don't think we will. The easiest way to prevent that, meaning a surge, is to continue to get people Jim Jones juiced. And for those who have been juiced, to continue to get them boosted. So that's really where we stand right now. The little rooster told ABC News, folks, adding that the United States will see an uptick in the number of cases. But we'll have an uptick in cases, folks, but we won't see a surge. What's the difference? The only difference is the word they want to use and how bad it's supposed to be and how much we should be scared. Now, when asked about whether or not the U.S. should relax its cerveza bug measures, the booster rooster said he doesn't believe so. Right? He said that officials may have to implement cerveza bug rules and regulations in the future. So here's his quote. I don't think so, meaning get rid of them. Not right now. I don't see us going back into any more really very restrictive kinds of restrictions, but you always have to have the flexibility. Folks, in this case, remember, they use words. He's trying to disarm people. Well, everything's fine now, but we reserve the right. And we're going to call that flexibility, folks. Flexibility means the booster rooster having the ultimate power, raw power, to reinstate any and all lockdown measures and even mandatory Jim Jones juice. Do you doubt me still, folks? Do you doubt me? Do you doubt what we talk about? Do you doubt it has hit the fan? You shouldn't, because it's real. This is all real. For every turd out there, folks, who question us, for everyone who thinks they're a cute little troll, and I'm going to say some funny shit and make everyone mad, enjoy your life, trolls, because we don't mind, because you don't matter. Now, let's step back into the international arena. Just wanted to come back domestically and talk about SHTF homegrown, and then there's SHTF out there still, of course. Folks, our tax dollars are hard at work. Guess what? In the country of Ukraine, government officials, folks, that's right, politicians, bureaucrats, they keep getting caught trying to leave the country. Well, hey, shouldn't they be able to leave the country, John? I mean, it's a war zone over there. But guess what they're trying to bring with them? Do you think they're bringing the family pictures? Do you think they've got the family pet? No, folks, they've got suitcases full of cash and euros, cash dollars, cash euros, cash, cash, cash. Where are they getting this cash? Where did that cash come from, folks? Who among you thought I was full of crap about the political officials stealing from the Ukrainian people? Who thought I was full of shit concerning the theft of US dollars that are sent to Ukraine, folks, to help that nation attain freedom and prosperity? Do you still doubt that United States government and corporate thugs don't get their cut or didn't get their cut of taxpayer dollars that are sent over to Ukraine? How much evidence and proof do you need that money that is sent there by our governments, both the European Union and United States, it goes into these politicians' hands and they pay their kickbacks, right? 10% to the big guy. How long, folks, until the world comes to its senses, stops being naive, grows up, right, and accepts the facts? Governments allow their agents to lie, cheat, and steal. This is evidence of it. This is evidence of Ukraine theft of money that was supposed to go to the people. Euros and dollars. This is evidence that they stole it and they've been keeping it in their homes, and now they're trying to flee the country with that cash. Unbelievable, right? And governments, folks, they use the mainstream media to push their propaganda and push their lies. And big tech and big social media punish and silence opposition and exposure of these crimes, right? Want to doubt me? You guys here that are listening that pay Patreon, you guys don't doubt me, I know. But there's a lot of people out there that do, that think this is all a big joke. It's not a big deal. It's okay. They can do that, right? I have been consistent, folks, about the need to prepare, right? We all have. Shit will hit the fan, which it has, and that it's getting worse, and it will get far, far worse before any of this is over, folks. Doubt me not. I'm telling you, when I saw this, folks, pictures of bundles, suitcase-sized bundles of cash wrapped in cellophane. Unbelievable. The president of Salvador, Nayib Bukele, he basically came out today and pointed out the obvious thing that we talk about, that the mainstream media doesn't. Right? We're like, how can our country be taken down by accident? It's too big. It's too powerful. Well, the president of Salvador said the United States of America can't be destroyed so quickly unless the enemy is working from within, right? So the president of a small country has the balls to point out this truth. Oh, don't worry, that same mainstream media will hide what this guy has to say, right? And yes, the United States of America, us, the people, we have enemies within. We have rhino Republicans, we have Democrats, and we have crony capitalists. And they have the power. And they are what, folks? They want to destroy the Constitution, and they want to enrich themselves. They want to create laws for us and laws that don't apply to them. This is where we're at, folks. This is where we're at. Is it time to stand up and fight back? To start prepping? Yes, definitely prep. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We need to be prepared. We need to have a plan, right? If you're going to live in the country and have your own food, you better understand how that works. You better be prepared for that. If you're going to live in the suburbs or the city, you need to have a plan to deal with all of that. We need a plan, folks. But it's time to fight back and stand up for ourselves. Kid Rock, folks. Another one of these rich guys who is saying, you know what? I'm not playing these games anymore. He says, I am uncancelable because I don't give a fuck. And folks, he does have FU money, right? Kid Rock is standing up. UFC fighters are standing up, right? Tucker Carlson, he's standing up, but not much to the media else than him, right? Maria Bartiromo tried standing up. Politicians in D.C., Big Marge stands up. Little Boebert stands up. Matt Gaetz has stood up. But are they really doing all they can? Or are they being threatened and told, you can run to the end of your leash, but you're done. You come off that leash and we'll take care of you. I don't know, folks, but it does appear that there's no other way to explain this, that our country is being destroyed from within. The education system, the teachers are destroying the education system. No doubt. Parents try and fix it. The Department of Justice and the FBI labeled them domestic terrorists. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, we're being destroyed from within with education. The financial system. We work and send all of our tax money to the government, and then we have anything left over. It goes to Wall Street for investments, an investment in business of America, the future of America. Right? The investment firms steal the money and go out of business and then say, sorry about that. Meanwhile, they give themselves golden parachutes. They pay themselves very, very well while everyone else takes a loss. Oh, folks, you wait. You've paid like I have into Social Security a number of years. It's not going to be there. If it is, it's going to be tied to some requirement to get the Jim Jones juice. Right? Who knows how they're going to do this, folks? It is absolutely incredible. They are destroying this country from within. The court system, the prosecution of Republicans, and ignoring Antifa and BLM. And the billions of dollars in damage they committed, folks. Billions of dollars. You bet they're destroying this place from within, right? And they've exported it as well. See, that's what the deal is with Ukraine and Syria and Libya and Iraq and Afghanistan and all these countries, folks, that the CIA and U.S. government have gone into and overthrown and tried installing their little puppets. That's right, folks. Zelensky was an installed puppet. He is owned and controlled, bought and paid for, and he's being heralded as a hero, right? Well, Russia said, hey, Ukraine, right? What's going on over there? They found all of these bioweapons, folks, and Russia is throwing it out there and said that the Pentagon reportedly, allegedly spent $200 million on bio research in Ukraine at all of these facilities. Right? They're taking our rights, taking our money and sending it over there. Well, raggedy biatch, right? Jen Psaki, what do you say to this accusation? Are you going to deny it? Can you explain the $200 million? Was it only 150 or was it 250? Right? Can you explain it away? Can you justify it? Or will it just be ignored, folks? You see, in America, criminals have the right to remain silent. And so the media can't push politicians because they remain silent as much as they can. And if their lips are moving, it's so that they have the ability to lie and protect themselves and deny, right? And if they're not lying, folks, they're just complete morons. Now, John, how can you say that? Yeah. Well, how about if I just give you an example? Today, massive Democrat socialist, the idiot herself, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she went on the internet and was ranting about capitalism. And she did a Joe Biden imitation, whispering, right? Always talking down to the people, making 0 sense. And she was mocked big time for it, folks. That's how they're either complete morons or they're complete liars. And the president of El Salvador, right, says, country like the U.S. can't fall. It has to be done from within, right? That's how you demolish a giant building, right? Say a giant skyscraper needs to come down. They don't bomb it from the outside. They blow up the support from the inside and the building falls in on itself. Right? Our country looks great from the outside. All those great American cities and great American highways and great American agriculture out there. But they're taking it down from the inside. They're pulling the pillars that hold this country up. The military, our education system, our legal system, our infrastructure, our businesses, our productive capacity. It's all being yanked out from under us. Unbelievable. Are you prepared, folks? Right? Are you prepared? Now, let's just say you needed to destroy an evil regime and remove the thing that it's been doing. Folks, Russia is doing just that to Ukraine. Right now, they're systematically taking the support structure for Zelensky out in Ukraine. It's a big duh. That's what he should be doing, right? He's taking out NATO sites. See, the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the sites they have over there is what caused Russia to say no more. Russia was told there would be no more expansion of NATO, and there was more than an expansion of NATO. So he's in there bombing the shit out of it, and he's trying to get rid of these Ukraine oligarchs, these Ukraine political thieves who have been trying to escape the country with all of this cash that they stole, folks. Right? If you go to a bank and put all this cash in there, you can't just go get it out. They have the same issues we have. There's not enough cash to go around. These people have been hoarding the cash, literally getting cash, cashing the checks that the United States have sent. They're trying to get out of there, right? And Russia, Putin is pulling down the supports for Ukraine. He's trying to feed the people, folks. In fact, Ukraine can feed itself. It has an abundance of food, even though they're saying next year, probably going to have some shortages. Certainly, they're going to have less because of the problems. The faster Zelensky gets out of the way, folks, the faster that nation can recover. But in our country here, will the government get out of the way? Oh, no. No, we need to keep going down, folks. Now, you've heard of Bloomberg News, Bloomberg Television. They printed a professor's opinion, a real certified smart person, and said Americans should eat beans, lentils, other proteins, and let their pets die, folks, because of inflation, right? Incredible. So, right, this is one of the things they put out on the internet. Inflation stings most if you earn less than $300,000 a year. Here's how to deal with it. 1, take the bus. 2, don't buy in bulk. 3, try lentils or beans instead of meat. And 4, nobody said this would be fun. How about 5, nobody frickin' asked for this. How about 6, why don't you get more oil in this country by opening the Keystone Pipeline project back up and doing more domestic drilling? Why don't we start building power plants to put more power out if we're going to have more electric vehicles? How about 7, we get rid of lying, cheating, scumbag politicians? Now, no. They want to say, take the bus. That's going to solve problems? Don't buy in bulk. Really? We'll address that in a second, folks. This professor says, quote, plan to cut out the middle creature in consumer and consume plants directly. Eat plants, not meat. It's more efficient. It's healthier and cheaper way to get your calories. So she says, don't eat meat because it's expensive, right? That's what she says. She says, don't eat meat because it's expensive. She is not saying save the animals, folks, because in the next breath, she also says, let your pets die. That'll save you some money. Stop having pets. She also says, don't buy in bulk. Don't buy in bulk, right? What the hell, right? That's the best way to save on all food items, whether you're buying bulk meat or bulk vegetables and bulk flour, right? Once again, folks, there's an agenda at play here, right? They want to say, get a different unhealthy diet with fake meat, or Bill Gates' bugs, and cheap calories from plants, not nutritious calories that meat has that people need. And don't forget to kill your pets, right? There's some sarcasm for you. There's some satire for you.
And not just to think about.
And screw your freedoms. I don't even want to get into it and play that. This is what they're saying, folks. Let your pets die. Get rid of your pets. Eat beans. Eat plants. Don't eat meat. And no one said it's going to be easy. Well, unbelievable. And before we get, I've gone a little long. Typical Monday, John. Get your questions in. And again, let's play Stump the John. Tell a lie, tell the truth. See if I can figure out which one is the lie. Because, folks, right now we're getting nothing but lies out there. So that's a fun game to play. So, folks, Joe Rogan came out. And he was a hero a month ago, if you recall, before the Ukraine issue. He's a hero a month ago, saying, you know what, we should be able to talk about anything. And they tried canceling him, and UFC fighters came out and said, we ought to cancel you guys, right? Start challenging these people. Rogan said that the media coverage of the Hunter Biden laptop story is outright crazy. And he said, quote, some fuckery is afoot. Right? This guy is an icon. He's 10 times what CNN is. Every time CNN tried hurting him, he crushed CNN. Right? The corporate media's coverage of the Hunter Biden laptop, folks, is complete crap. We were told by politicians, by media people, by everybody that the laptop story, right, was a lie. It was Russia, Russia, Russia. Right? They're ignoring facts to push the narrative. And that's what scares me, says Joe Rogan. He said they don't just love a good story. They love the narrative. And the narrative, folks, is ignore the Bidens. It should be criminal at some point because they're enabling this lie to continue. Right? He believes, now Joe says this, right? He believes there are objective journalists who work at the Washington Post and New York Times. He says there's real solid journalists out there, but you're not getting all the information, right? How can we get this out there? Politicians, right? The Boberts, the Marge Taylor Greens, the Cottons, right? Rand Paul, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan. They should all be screaming at the top of their lungs about this Biden laptop, because within that laptop, folks, was information about the Russian ties, the Ukraine ties, and the Chinese ties that the Bidens have, as well as all of the salacious drug and sex and other nonsense in his life. This is unbelievable, folks, what is going on. They can just ignore it. They can just ignore it and then tell everyone how Voldemort Zelensky is a hero. Folks, the man, the pictures are out there. Just do this. Type in on Google or Yahoo Zelensky and make sure you spell it correctly and put in there Ukraine Nazi flag. See what you come up with. See what you come up with. You know, Zelensky and his Azov Nazi battalion. Why don't you put in there, you know, Zelensky and his sexuality and see what you find. Look it up, folks. Look it up. I tell you what, this is the Q&A time. Let's get to that to kick this week off. Can never get enough, folks. There's too much going on to ignore what's happening in this world.
Are you ready?
It's that wild, folks. What do you want to talk about? Topic, subject, person, place, thing, or tell a lie, tell a truth. We have all kinds of options to go over. It's hit the fan. Most important is you be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, POW, means of self-defense. Go to thepreparedmind.club, folks. Go there and get what you need. Food, water, communications equipment, body armor, name it. It's over there. It's very important. Get your virtual private network, a VPN, self-defense tools, items, flashlights, knives, whatever it takes, folks, get prepared. All right, Jolene, who do we want to talk to first? What do we got up there? We've got Frankie Rios. Thank you, Frankie. He says, hey, John, did you get a look at the video going around with the manless gas station, soon to be replaced, the American worker? They're getting us coming and going. This is something I've noted years ago. As far as gas goes, yeah, they gas stations used to be full serve. Gas stations used to provide jobs for young people who wanted to work, who needed to develop work skills, work habits, and understand the value of their time. Time has value. So they had full service gas stations where you would pull in, someone would come out, fill your gas tank, and you would pay for that. Then they did self-serve. Self-serve way a long time ago. Now, honestly, there was one full service station in the town that I moved from in extreme Northern California. And one of my sons actually worked there as a high schooler, right? Pumping gas, washing windshields, serving others. Hey, that shit works. It was job, right? And they would actually tip. People on top of everything else would tip the people pumping the gas. $3, $5, whatever. Incredible stuff. Now, that's been around for a long time. But yeah, now Walmart, Home Depot, I think Target, a lot of these major stores are getting rid of the people, the workers. We don't need you. Right? In California, you want $15 an hour minimum wage worker? Sorry, we don't need you. Fast food restaurants, retail, convenience and mini marts, anywhere, folks. I've been in a drugstore. I think it was CVS. I've been to one of those Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, Dollar Family, Dollar General, whatever those dollar things are to check this out. They have them in there. You go up and you check your own items out and you give them your money. You do all the work. It's like self-serve. Fewer employees for the company, more profits for the company. This is where it's going, folks. They're getting rid of people. And I told Walmart workers, folks, years and years ago when I first saw this, I walked over and said, you think this is cute, having people check out their own stuff? Who do you think is going to be the first one that gets fired when all the people in this town are trained to pay for their own stuff, to bag their own items? We won't need you. Robots stocking the shelves? You bet. We won't need you, human beings. Corporations are making money on us, coming and going. Unbelievable. Thank you, Frankie Rios, for that topic. Oh, yeah, it's hit the fan, and it's not going to get better. Not soon. We got Cottage Farm, and I want to thank you again, Cottage Farm and Frankie, and everyone who provide additional support for the channel. Show up and ask the really good questions. Every Sunday Night Live had a good time last night, but boy, does that kick my butt. Right? We do an hour every day, but 2 hours on SNL, right? The Zoo. That extra hour, it takes it out of me. Now, Cottage Farm says the stock market is crazy, John. When will it tank, or do you think the Green New Deal and ESG will save it? Well, the stock market, if you just look at it as a number, the Dow is right around 35,000, right? The Dow is at 35,000. Everyone's familiar with the Dow Jones. I know there's also the S&P and the NASDAQ, and they're just a number. What does that number truly mean? Right? Well, that number, let's say the Dow 35,000, is the value of all the stocks that are in the Dow. You just kind of add them all up, and there's your number, 35,000. That's your Dow Jones average. That doesn't mean anything compared to the value of the dollar it's compared against, kind of like gold. Well, what's the dollar worth compared to an ounce of gold? That'll give you an idea how much gold you can buy, or silver, or any other commodity. But we all kind of understand gold. It's about 2,000 an ounce. We understand silver. It's about 25 an ounce, right? So the stock market, if it starts to go down, they call in the plunge protection team. So it's going down, and the government starts pumping money, right? Giving that digital cash, those digital dollars right in there to get that 34, 33,000. Whoa, back up to 34. Everything's fine, folks. The Dow is just fine. The stock market won't crash unless they allow it. But what they're doing is they're continuing to pump money, cash, your money. Right? The government doesn't have any money. They print money or authorize the printing of money, and then they spend it and then tell you and me to pay the bill. It's taxes, right? So they keep pumping money into Wall Street so the banks can keep stealing it, right? Stock goes up. They sell it, they make a bunch of money. The price goes way down. Oh my gosh. The government puts more money in, it goes up again, right? The value of the stock owned by those companies, right? Banks, institutions, goes up, they sell it, drops. That's their game. Buy low, sell high. It drops back down, they buy it low, right? Government puts in money, raises it back up. They love it. It's a great game. So I don't think they're going to allow it to crash. But while this is happening, this buy low, high low, stock market shit goes on, right? It's doing this, and the value of the dollar keeps falling, right? Stock market looks the same. It's just a number, 35,000. Meanwhile, the value of the dollar, it buys less and less and less. Gallon of gas is over double what it was, folks, 1 year ago. It's gone up over 100% in my area. Well over 100%. No doubts. Hamburger, gallon of milk, loaf of bread. The dollar is becoming worth less and less and less. It's worth less. So if the dollar is worth less and the stock market keeps that number, $35,000 for one share of the Dow, the dollar can't keep up and buy that. So it's fake. It's a perceived value. Meanwhile, right, the dollar can't buy as much. So the stock market is actually going down in value because the dollar is going down in value, but we only see that number up there. The Green New Deal, Cottage Farm, won't save it. That's just more deficit and debt spending. That's all it is. It's taking your money, my money, our children's money, grandchildren, taking that money and putting it in social programs. Oh, who gets that money? Putting it in government programs. It goes to contractors who end up hiring politicians, who end up paying for politicians' elections. That money ends up in suitcases in Ukraine, probably ends up in suitcases in Poland, probably ends up in suitcases in Afghanistan. Everywhere the U.S. money goes, it ends up in the suitcases and bank accounts of rich people and politicians. Some of it will get spent on the people, right? And ESG, environmental governance. Give me a break. Environmental and social governance. In other words, they're trying to rate companies based on how many homosexuals they have in the boardroom or how many people to make it look like it's culturally and gender neutral or balanced. How much carbon footprint do they have? Hey, folks, some businesses have more carbon. Other businesses don't, right? But to say this one has a lot of carbon, therefore it's bad and it has a lower ESG score. So what? It's a coal mine. Of course it has carbon. You know, it produces energy, you jackasses. You're going to say it's a bad investment in a bad company because it's putting the power to run your computer system? This country runs on coal and nuclear, folks. Coal and nuclear and natural gas. It's a lot of carbon, a lot of protons too. A lot of carbon though. Anyways, the market can only tank when they allow it, but the dollar is going to continue to fail. So we need to put our money into things of real value today, like food, right? Self-defense, that's something that's extremely valuable. But wait, right? We're going to find out. Food, though, is the single best investment you can make right now. It's gone up 100% a year. Name another investment that's gone up 100% in the last year. Gold and silver haven't. Cryptocurrency, I don't think Bitcoin has gone up to new highs. Food is a much better investment than cryptocurrencies, in my opinion. Even Bitcoin. All right, let's move on if we shall. And by the way, trolls, we're looking for you. We can track you. We can find you. And you can be in big trouble as you mess with us.
Proceed with caution.
I love it. Go ahead, trolls. Make my day. All right, we got Captain Potato 07. He says the U.S. only gets 3% of its oil from Russia. Okay, then. I believe it's a lot more than that. I don't know where you got your number from. I don't trust any of the numbers. Okay, I really don't believe any of the numbers, whether it's your 3% or the number I heard, which is over 10%. The reason I don't believe it is because those numbers come from government. I heard just yesterday that it was 12 or 15 Russian oil tankers are about to pull in to U.S. ports. Right? That's a lot of oil, these huge tankers. Right? Now, the United States used to be energy positive. We produced more oil than we consumed, and we sold elsewhere. Now we're importing. So we're importing from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar. But they're saying we're not going to produce any more for you. Russia said, we'll fill the gap, right? This is before all this bullshit started with Ukraine. Russia said, we'll sell you oil. We'll take care of you. So I don't know if it's 3% or 13%. I don't think it's 30%, but it's a lot. Now, what is the most important gallon of gas in the tank of your vehicle? If you're 3% shy of getting to your destination, say you have to travel 100 miles and you're 3 miles short, well, guess what? You're 3 miles short. The most important gallon of gas in your tank is the one that you run out of and you don't have any more. We need Russian gas or Russian oil for this country to run, even if it's only 3%. That is still enough to make sure we all get the gas we need at the cheapest price possible. We're going to run short? You bet. Prices go up? Well, take a bus, buy an EV. You know, they're coming up with every answer, but not the solutions, right? They've got propaganda, they got talking points, they got bullshit for us. Now, the 3% question. Oil and energy. The United States has been madly scrambling to do anything except solve the problem. They ran to the Middle East. We're told no. They ran, folks, to Venezuela. Venezuela said no. They're pissing off Putin and calling him a thug and a murderer and then saying, but we want your oil. Now they're saying, well, we don't want that Russian oil. Bad Russia. Well, those tankers are going to pull into port and they will pump that oil off, folks. Now, if they say, no, we don't want it, those people in that area of the country, wherever that's at, guess what? They're going to have much higher prices to pay at the pump. Right now, they're doing all they can to manipulate the price of oil on the market down using the same old Wall Street tricks they've been using to keep the price of gold down, silver down, wheat, all of these shorters, like the guy who shorted nickel, the metal nickel, shorted it, was losing billions of dollars because, right, you can't just short things. There's a problem with that. If you short something and it goes up, you got to pay the difference between your bet and the reality. Well, they bailed that guy out, folks, and they're going to allow him to continue to short. They short every market, keeping things manipulated. We need real price discovery. What does it really cost? Right. So they're now trying to artificially lower, right, the cost of oil. They're playing this massive centralized game, folks, of what should shit cost. It's not free market, folks. It's not capitalism. It is top-down, centrally managed everything. And we're seeing the problem with that as the value of the dollar falls because they're having to print so much of it. I don't want to see a gallon of gas costing $10 or a gallon of diesel cost $10. That's not good for anyone. Not at what they value our time at as labor. We've got big problems coming, folks, and they're going to get bigger. I really hope that and wish that we don't need Russian oil. Right? But 10, 12, 15 tankers this week alone, that's a lot of oil, folks. I don't want us to need that, but apparently we do. Even if it's only 3%, we can't do without that 3%. Obviously. Otherwise, we would be telling Russia and those tankers, turn the fuck around and get out of here. So, yeah, we can't get a straight answer out of the government, folks. Cerveza bug, how many people are sick with it? Well, we got this test, and, it's not real accurate. And the symptoms are the same as the common cold, sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, so you can rest. Medicine will fix all of that. But you don't need that. You need some special high-dollar medicine. Right? We can't get the accurate truth, statistics, anything out of the government. So how can we trust the government when it says we only have 3% Russian oil? I can't believe any of the things they say, folks. I don't believe a word any of them say. Right? They're telling us Zelensky's a hero when the evidence I've seen is contrary to that. He's not the hero and leader of his people. The people don't love him. Right? He is a complete basket case, fruitcake weirdo. Not to mention he loves the swastika, folks. Let us move on if we shall. I mean, we're supposed to hate Nazis, folks. We're supposed to hate neo-Nazis, right? The world hates Nazis because Hitler was a Nazi. So why is it that a country is run by neo-Nazis and the United States government is backing it? We've got Sean checking. He says, hi, John. On Friday, I met Obeid, a coworker who came to the U.S. from Libya in 1975. He is now subscribed to the channel. Please welcome him aboard, and don't be surprised to hear from him soon. All right, Obeid. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not familiar with that name, but welcome, sir, and welcome to all new patrons on The Prepared Mind at patreon.com, and welcome to all new subscribers on YouTube and The Prepared Mind BC on YouTube. And go to thepreparedmind.club and get what you need to get prepared. There are people, folks, this Obeid guy, 1975. Been here a long time. Probably way more American and way more patriotic than anyone in Washington, D.C. I've met some of the best people from around the world, folks. It's incredible. And I've also met some of the worst. And some of them come from around the world, and some are born right here. And they're complete anti-American, anti-freedom scum. There's going to be a house cleaning. I'm not promoting it. I'm not glamorizing it, but it's coming. It's coming because the fighters are standing up, folks. And the talkers, they're talking. We got people here on this channel that want to talk smack and be keyboard commandos. Well, they're going to get their time. Everyone's going to get their chance, folks, to make a difference out there. But you have to be prepared first. And truly, right, it has hit the fan. We got Orlando. He says, I work in a school and I see how decadent the people here have become. I no longer enjoy working here, but if just one school is like this, imagine how decadent the world is becoming. Yes, it's all falling apart. Hitler knew that if you capture the hearts and the minds of youth, that is, you lie, deceive, use propaganda, and indoctrinate them, you can control the youths who then grow up and become your puppets as adults. Right? That's why children should be protected. Parents should have a right to say, you're not teaching my kid that shit. Whether it's critical race theory or this LGBT flag crap. Whatever it is, parents should have a say, a 100% say. And folks, I say you do. Take your kid out of public schools. They are a decadent cesspool of just garbage, absolute garbage. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. My kids were reading before they went into kindergarten. My kids were doing math before they went into kindergarten. No school. I was teaching them, right? You can teach your own kids. They can learn on their own. The computers, we have computers. They're hooked up to the internet. There is educational curriculum you can get on the internet that doesn't tell your kids to hate themselves, hate their siblings, hate their parents, and hate their country. There is educational curriculum on the internet that doesn't teach you that you need to sit on a banana to be a real man, as you deny your own gender and claim to be a woman. And worse. Unbelievable, silly stuff out there. I'm glad you're enjoying the satire, folks. I'm glad you are.
Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Love that pie hole comment. Okay, Jolene, we got one more. We're about to wrap up the hour, and we got the piping Shrike. He says, my friend is confident that Putin will have won by the end of April. If true, what do you think the consequences will be? Okay, so when we say Putin will have won, that means Zelensky will have surrendered. They will have an agreement as to what is expected of the Ukraine government, which means no NATO. Remember, folks, the winner of the war gets to decide what the terms of the surrender are. It's called suing for peace. Right? You want me to stop blowing your shit up? Then there's terms. I actually believe Zelensky will be asked to step down and that there will be an election in Ukraine. Right now, folks, Zelensky, the Jesus-like figure that we're all supposed to call a hero, has martial law in the country and has said there is no other political party but his own. And if you want to object to any of that, you can be arrested. Right? There's no other voice but the voice of Zelensky as far as the government is concerned now. Does that sound like democracy to you? Does that sound like freedom? Does that sound like a country that they should want? Nope. Anyways, so back to Russia. What does this mean? There'll be no NATO. There'll be no Zelensky. There'll be an agreement between Russia and Ukraine. Putin will recognize these independent breakaway zones inside of Ukraine. I do not believe Ukraine, the territory, the country known as Ukraine, will become part of Russia. I don't believe that. This is my guess. This is my opinion, folks, because it won't need to be. It is and should be its own nation. I agree. But we don't need a puppet-controlled pile of shit country where we send our tax dollars just to be stolen by bureaucrats who then want to fill that suitcase of theirs with all that cash and try getting out of the country with it. Right? That's what's going on, folks. It is a money grab, money fest for a decade now down there in Ukraine or over there in Ukraine. The consequences will be that there's going to continue to be tension between Russia, which will be joined by China and India and Brazil, likely South Africa, and other countries that are going to say, you know what? We don't have to do anything with the U.S. We don't have to do anything with the Euro, the European Union. In fact, Saudi Arabia and other, shall we say, Middle East countries, oil-producing Middle East countries, are making deals with Russia and China, and they're not using the U.S. dollar. The consequence of this, folks, is going to demonstrate that the U.S. dollar is done. The petrodollar is no longer the global, the single global reserve currency. It's not that I like this, folks. I love the advantage my dollars have. When I go to the store to buy a loaf of bread, right, I love that my dollar is so good. Now it's not so good, and it's going to get worse, right? America coming down, standard of living. Europe coming down, standard of living. The stock markets will remain inflated. Those big old numbers will still be big, but the people, their standard of living, those dollars won't go as far. I was talking with Chris B. Bacon earlier in the day, and I said, hey, inflation, right? The economy is trashed. They're trying to say, let's conserve our way to prosperity. Don't use as much gas, right? Well, after World War I, which Germany lost, they had all the money they needed, folks. You bet. The Weimar Republic of Germany had all the money they needed, but that money was worthless. A wheelbarrow of cash, literally bricks of cash, could only buy a loaf of bread. It's not how much money you have, it's the strength and value of that currency. After the United States gets done watching Russia defeat Ukraine and tell the U.S., you don't get oil, wait till they start talking more about uranium. That's coming up, folks. The uranium question, both the mining of it in Kazakhstan and the enriching and processing of it by Rosatom, Russian corporation. There are going to be problems. Energy standard of living goes down. It's going to cost a lot more money to buy that fuel and oil. Germany's trying not to cut its ties with Russia while at the same time trying to condemn Russia. It's all for optics. It's all for bullshit. The world can't do without Russia. You want to pretend we don't need Russian oil? Then prices will go up everywhere else. Russia will just sell its oil at a discount to India and to China. At the end of this, by the time we're done, if your friend is right, by the end of April, by the time we're done with this, folks, we could have one or two currencies on a gold standard. The ruble, Russian ruble, could be based on gold. Same with the Chinese yuan. And potentially, folks, the nation of India, it's rupee. India is a very, very gold and silver rich country. They have a lot of precious metal. When they have money left over, they buy gold and silver, folks. They don't buy stock in Netflix and pray for the greater fool thinking that Netflix has real value. It has entertainment value, folks, but you can't go eat a Netflix sandwich, right? You can't say Netflix and turn on the light switch, and Netflix does not power homes. Right? We can live without Netflix. We can't live without lights. We can live without Netflix. We can't live without food. We can live without Netflix, but we can't live without oil. The consequences are going to show, folks, that the United States is weak. Not because you and I are weak or stupid or ignorant or non-patriotic. It's going to show that the government, the United States government in Washington, D.C., is a very weak institution that has failed because it has been more interested in tearing down this country than trying to build it up. What did Trump say? Make America great again. What is so wrong with that? Well, we're finding out what is wrong with Build Back Better. What are we going to build, folks? What is Biden building? Show me. What is Biden building? Oil wells? Roads? Factories? What is building? What is he building? Right? In order for corporations, right, to try and build any infrastructure, they need money. We're going to have big tax cuts from Biden? No, they want to spend more money on what? Social crap, folks. Social equity and social governance. They want to green the world. Well, all the green paint isn't going to solve the problems. We have big issues. One of the best things I can recommend is to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Have a plan. Understand what's going on. Be able to get through emergency situations. And we're going to have, folks, we're going to have a lot of that, including right? SHTF hotspots and Mad Max. We're going to have government corruption on steroids. We're going to have people fighting back and fighting each other in partisan conflict. It's not going to be pretty. I don't know if we'll be on the air at that time. Your support keeps us here. But will they shut down the internet? We're going to find out. So you need to learn today as much as you can every day. Prepare today as much as you can for the inevitable. And help others wake up. And thank you and welcome to everyone who is new here, who has shown up, who is realizing that there's a problem. Big problems. Right? Are you prepared, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and, right, that symbol right there. Right? Hit that QR code with your phone camera, and it'll pop open this website that'll direct other people to find us on Patreon, on YouTube, and take them to the preparedmind.club. So you can pause the video and just put your camera on your phone right there. Say, take a look at that. Right? Send that to friends. It'll help wake them up, folks. They're not getting the truth from mainstream media. They're not. They're not getting the facts, folks. They're not getting the information they need. They're getting lies and propaganda. They're getting stalled and they're getting built. Unbelievable. Right? You can help them prepare. You can help them figure this out. We all can. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Semper Fi to you means always faithful. Godspeed.